What is happening, guys? We're on YouTube right now, and we
Awesome.
decided on just a random impromptu podcast about the art of humor, all things funny, and why it matters.
I see.
So, man, for me, I use humor both as a weapon, a crutch, a tool, and a statement.
Uh-huh. Fair, fair. For me, it would be, for those of you who don't know me yet, I'm Ryan G from Aligned to Strategy, and of course, Ryu from IMC Nation. Now, the topic of humor, right? Humor is one of my most powerful tools when it comes to consulting and, dating, and of course, building relationships. He who knows how to make his audience, be it his parents, be it his clients, be it his children, be it his lovers, his dates, feel good about themselves, will be an extremely important person to that, being. It's the same thing as, you bought a new dog, you've trained the dog, and when you come home, this dog, even though it can't talk, even though it has no concept of, the hard life that you live, every time it sees you, it wants nothing more than to be genuinely loving towards you. So what if human would be the same way? No ill intention, but you're just messing around. In recent dates that I've done this weekend, I will usually tell jokes in relation to love, dating, hell, even sex, to open up the conversation towards taboo topics. I'm also using humor to gauge the comfort level of, uh, the relationship as is, or as the relationship is forming, or as the conversation is forming. What you'll get is the possibility to create, you know, through him some sort of mental alchemic process, endless possibilities with your audience. I remember there was a time where I didn't have a good uh, relationship with my parents because of, we're Indian. I grew up a bit more militaristic, very business oriented, get high grades, come home, don't mess with uh, women, and your friends aren't allowed to come home, to give you some idea, right? But as I've gotten to know my parents, I realized, oh, they did this to protect me. There is no longer, fear, hate, negative emotions towards them. So, what if I can now lubricate, you know, through the medium of humor, our relationship? Because how cool would it be if your dad, randomly comes up to you, takes you out drinking, and he's telling you nothing but sex jokes, and telling you nothing but his, his, mischievous and dubious escapades with his friends, meeting random women. Could you imagine your dad with an 80s or 70s afro, whatever? They're making their own clothes. They're teaching people how to dance, blah, blah. Like, oh shit, my dad used to be fucking cool. Right? Because I'm not making my own clothes and teaching people how to dance, you know? And all that was possible through the medium of a joke. Now, should you be tactful? Of course, of course. I mean, not all jokes can be told, and context in this case is key. I have a feeling that Sumit wants to say something.
Um, no, man, I was just thinking about when you were saying the fact that it's a social lubricant, like that makes complete sense because humor almost like connects people. It's a connector as well.
Right.
Because if two people laugh at something, it makes it okay like it gives somebody else permission to also laugh. So
Right,
it's like, yeah, it creates a container of the group dynamic, the glue of the group dynamics.
right. So one of the jokes that happened this weekend was um, on my Bumble profile. It's clear that I am infatuated by martial arts, specifically wrestling, judo, BJJ, you name it. And as we went from venue to venue, of course the subject comes up, right? So I show her the video. I think you liked it on Instagram, Sumit. And clearly, to those who are not initiated in the world of grappling, it kind of looks suggestive as hell, right? Because we're both in pretty vulnerable situations, etc., etc. And prior to that, I also joked about it, you know. But now she's seeing me in a different context. We are wrestling, we're really trying to break each other. But I'm outsmarting him a little bit. I'm trying to zig while I sag. He's clearly the better opponent, but I'm being more crueler. I'm being more cunning. And it comes to a moment where the video ends, and like, yeah, so that's pretty much what I do. And I would really like, at some point be a really big guy, like Hanuman, the ape god. And she then apologizes and asks me the question, do you use this in bed too? Now, I did not expect that question. So I gave the logical answer because if you don't know what to say, simply say the truth and keep it simple. Like, yeah, of course, it's just body mechanics because if you look at the video, he used cowgirl, he used missionary. But as I'm saying that, a joke starts to form. Like, I'm talking about PJJ, I'm talking about sex. Who are the people that I admire? My master. So then the joke begins to form. Like, so here's the setup. So I've been doing this for maybe a year, and I can pull these things off. So my question is, what wrestling voodoo bullshit is our wrestling coach doing to his wife? And we just start to break down in laughter, right? Because now this is a joke between us. This is no longer a scripted joke. And because it's a joke between us, the relationship deepens because of the enrichment of the conversation.
That's powerful, man, because yeah, it's a reason that we call it an inside joke,
Right,
right? Like when we say it's an inside joke, it's an internal joke that's been created and then it's forming this like psychic link with the other person. And yeah, man, it's like I think that the jester archetype is really interesting. And when you can step into the embodiment of the highest jester in your own life, you can really get away with anything pretty much. Like, I don't know, not in the way of like, using it as a like a tool, but like the playful arrogance that you show and that confidence that you're able to poke fun at not only yourself, but also the environment, the societal norms,
right.
you are poking holes into your own ego and hers and the world. It's
Like,
like
yeah, no one's safe. No one's
no
safe.
one's safe. Yeah, exactly. And so,
It's it's like
yeah,
how if you ever saw a comedian like Andrew Schultz, I got my comedy for comedians that do crowd work well. It's the idea of as the conversation continues, the joke begins to form. One of my motto is life is just one big joke. I can take life seriously, but never personally because the moment I realize I'm taking it too personally, I just have to laugh. Like how the Joker would laugh at something so stupid. Like how mundanity is just killing us, but it's just mundane. It's just mundane. It doesn't kill you. You choose for it to, suck your soul. You could just get it done and over it and continue on with your life, but no, you dilly, you dally, and you still have to do it.
Yeah, man, it's like what Alan Watts said about you can't take serious what the gods made for fun. You know what I mean? And
Right,
it's
right.
that whole idea of like, you don't want to be the self-deprecating clown either, right? That there comes a point where sarcasm and dark humor can be used as a mask to try to hide from problems and things like this.
Correct.
However, at the same time, I think the playfulness and the banter, it's almost like it's not aggressive, it's like a curiosity.
Well said. I didn't realize it, but well said. Humor, the way I use it is to enrich the conversation and gauge where we're at. It's like a wrestling move basically, where I'm still applying the pressure, but if I get the feeling that you want to go right, I'll go left for a new opening.
I
And
see. And it's like, so you're saying it's like a radar, basically.
yeah,
And
it's like how you would have like how you would bake a cake, or you want to see if your potatoes, your alu, as Indians call it, is
alu.
alu, right?
Bro, I used to be in Switzerland, so alu, we used to see aluminium like in the like the
Ah,
side
yeah,
of the
yeah,
road.
totally
And my
before.
dad always used to point it out and be like, this alu right here.
And
And
we don't have
the
to search
dad
for it
jokes.
before.
But dad jokes are a universe of their own, right?
Yeah,
Like this
like hi
very
dad, I'm hungry. I'm hungry, I'm dad. That's the classic one. That's the classic one.
yeah, exactly. And it's like it's so classic, it's so cheesy, but it's so matching the archetype,
Yeah,
right? And that's what makes it so powerful.
it's
So
funny you called out archetype because remember back in the day when we trained under Vince Kelvin, Mr. Hollywood, one of
yeah,
is the master street pickup artist in the world.
yeah,
He talked about there's at least four main archetypes, right? Now you have the alpha, you have the wizard, you have the lover, and you have the bad boy. Now the alpha is just the man's man, the wizard is the intelligent man, and the lover is he who has the courage to, openly put his heart in a flame, basically. Can you be willingly vulnerable?
yeah. And I
And
believe there's also the entertainer was another one.
what's another one he did that, but those were like the two four that he liked to play with the most, and the other ones came later.
Mhm.
I would combine bad boy with entertaining because they're kind of similar, but I know what you mean. Through the IMC Academy, more specifically IMC Nation under uh, Arasi Pardiwasar, we have learned the importance of storylines. Within a story, let's say in my case, I prefer the mafioso story where it's dangerous yet attractive, right? It's everything about me is business. Everything I do is violent, yet there's a zen quality because of the jokes, because of the seeking of healing myself, the child traumas we spoke about a few days ago. Um, what if, right? What if, as I overcome obstacles, new traumas exist? Now I need a system for that. Now, from a business perspective, it's nothing more than a new process being introduced because clearly, now that an obstacle has been overcome, we have new ingredients. This something is not completely right. And the way a storyline works is I don't have to think about what the joke is. The joke just is, and it just hits all by itself, as the current doctrine says, and Bruce Lee left above you, on the left corner above you, right? And once you notice this and you've been well practiced in, the art of dating, talking, better said, the art of communicating, where in this case, humor is like a sub uh, minor, let's say, right? If you're good at communicating, you should be generally good with humor. And what you'll notice is through humor, I can also gauge the flow of the conversation. I can create opportunities to, let's say, a type of subject like, kissing. I would like to kiss you and still hold your hand. And then because she knows I'm a guy that likes to, ask questions, be curious and just be open with whatever, you'll get a situation where it's not awkward. I'm willing to bet, at least 7 or 8 out of 10 dudes would freak out. But because I keep my cool and I realize, now that there's a bit of pain, a joke can form. Because the whole point of making a joke is to relieve tension. Now, the reason why we spoke on archetypes was the storyline. Within a storyline, an actor, a character has many archetypes that he plays. It's never just one pure one, unless it's a force of nature villain or a very specific type of character that that it makes sense in the story. Now, the the technical archetype that I play is more the assassin slash puppet master. If you want to go technical, but if you want to go towards a storyline, I'm a spiritual businessman and gangster, right? Because through the expression of masculinity, be it in the violent sense as a dangerous man or as a competent businessman, through that I build my yang. But the spiritual is sin because through that I heal, through that I heal others, through that I heal my tribe and give. And what I think Zen does in the context of humor and dating is it gives me a chance to stay neutral, calm, relax, and not be panicky, right? The yang would be something like stoicism, like if she has questions that are like tricky, questions like what are you expecting of a first date, where's this headed? I am I might not like the question, but there's no problem. I realize that my response is more important, and response can be with humor, can be with lightness, can be like, it's not a big deal, it's just a question. And
Yeah,
once I've
man. I,
given,
I
yeah,
posted I posted on my Instagram today that trouble is opportunity in work clothes. So it's
trouble,
like that
yeah,
any problem is just a disguise for this is a puzzle to be solved. Like this is something that will give me a gift at the end of
correct.
this.
You remind
And
me of
yeah,
what
go ahead.
ACD said last night on, it's just because, you talk to more women, the women, the problems with money, women, whatever, will not disappear. But because you become more competent, you now have more experience and more tools to work with. Do you remember like a year ago we barely had any interactions with women? Also because of COVID, etc. We're still getting used to it, but now look at us. We're actively going out and we're finding our own way in the way of seduction. And my
Right.
way is very heavily based on the art of humor because again, if it can make someone feel good about themselves, especially when they're around me, unless they're out of their fucking minds, you know there won't be any relationships, so to speak. And it's not done simply as a means to an end. It's also done because humor heals me. Humor makes me happy. Humor makes me feel good about me, right? Because now I can laugh, and now she's laughing with me, or they are laughing with me. And often when we have these random convos, besides the fact that this is a podcast, technically, um, we just laugh at the dumb shit that we do, like the joke about what's the main advantage of a homeless dating a homeless girl, that you can drop her off anywhere. It's a zero fat, all meat and bones joke. It's simple. It's not even dirty, but it might be a bit not safe for work depending on how much of a food you are, right? And
Yeah.
that's what I'm checking for. Can we have a good conversation? Is a vibe well? And even more important, what I really appreciate is, can she give it back? Like,
Yeah.
can she, roast me for on things that I said, like she made the comment of, so you like white shoes but not white chicks? What's up with that? And that's a very funny observation, right? Because I rarely do that. And
Hmm.
I just had to laugh at it. Like, that's a good one. I didn't expect it, but I appreciate it. And she's laughing
Hmm.
because like, so this is your humor, Ryan. I see. And
Hmm.
because of those, inside jokes, uh,
Yeah, the
even
rapport is
though
built. Yeah, the
the
rapport is built through that process of the inside
exactly,
jokes for sure. And speaking of archetypes, I'm reminded of like The Art of Seduction by Robert Greene. I've been doing a series on this recently. And you're looking
you're still
back,
very
Orion, it's a projector, so it looks like you're looking at the TV. But anyway, you're like
yeah, I
looking
know, right?
behind the TV. Yeah.
It's like
Um,
a hidden chamber behind the TV or whatever, as books fall.
Open Sesame.
Right.
Yeah.
The art of seduction.
Yeah, man. Each of those archetypes, they have a different way of demonstrating humor,
Right.
which I find is very interesting. And each of
Right.
them are symbolic of something. Like one of them is a mirror, right? One of them is the painter or the portrait painter. One of them is, I think, the ideal lover is the portrait painter, and all of them have these different symbols, right? And
Right.
I'm reminded of, well, um, AZD had this process. Right now in the Beast Camp, we are said to have our superheroes, right? In the
I see.
first lesson of the Beast Camp, like to find our superheroes and combine it with our beast. And I've been looking at this guy, Venomized Doctor
Yeah. Right.
Strange, and also like understand that the Venom portion is almost like a werewolf quality that it has already. So I'm thinking about merging this with the werewolf at night. And that's why I posted that comic book image
Right. Right.
of,
Right. Right. Right.
yeah,
Right. Of Doctor Strange and it
yeah,
werewolf. I see. I was thinking that it had to do something with that.
yeah. This is the image for those of
Right.
you
Right.
watching. Yeah.
I read your words as lecture, but I get the concept behind.
Mhm.
On archetypes, I think I'm a charismatic type because for me it's all about the social. Because through social dynamics, real social dynamics, um, did you see what I did there? Um, through social dynamics, I get a kick because in my youth, and we talked about this in a more personal conversation, childhood traumas in my case has a lot to do with abandonment, and through that you'll get, in my case, overcompensation orally, and social has a lot to do with oral validation, or validation from social groups, and because of that I get a kick out of it. So traumas don't have to be a bad thing, because like every hero like Hercules, etc., 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 he used his traumas, his trials, or because of the trials and the bad things that happened to him, he had to overcome some extremely tough traumas to start another family. I mean, losing the first one, Daniel gets killed. Yeah, that's a tough nut to swallow, man.
Yeah, it's like the superhero origin story, like how you got your superpowers is usually from a trauma. Like I was saying to Miracle J, like when you got Spider-Man got bit by a spider, he didn't like get, get piece of candy from a spider, he got bit. Like it started from a
Fair,
trauma. His powers started from something bad that happened to you.
fair. Well,
And that's
there's
what
at
gave
least
you
two
your
things that
powers.
happened to Spider-Man. One, yes, he did get bitten, but but at that time was as a mutant. He became
Mhm.
Spider-Man as he was developing his wrestling character for money, right?
Right.
But Spider-Man became Spider-Man when Uncle Ben died. And there's where the famous saying goes, with great power comes great
For responsibility.
responsibility. So with great
Facts.
humor comes great fun.
Mm, yeah.
Did you see that? Because y- if you cannot, if you don't know how to make a joke, or you're not willing to go through the trials and tribulations to learn how to use humor as a tool.
I would almost say that it's like a filter, you know what I mean? Like
In
through
what
any
way?
situation, if you have a humorous mind, you can see a situation as much lighter than it is and make yourself laugh.
Correct.
And if you
Make yourself
have
laugh.
that skill set to make yourself laugh, you're self-amusing, which means you're not attached to the situation, but
Ah,
actually you're letting go because humor, like laughter is a release, right? It's like a ha, you're letting go of something and
right,
mostly pressure, social pressure, sexual
right,
tension, right? It's like ha,
right.
it's like a release of that pressure, and then basically it's telling you not to attach so much to the situation, to not take it so seriously, because when we take things seriously in our minds, we're attached to it. We don't want to
Right.
let it go.
And attachment makes one rigid
Right.
and thus immovable in moments where, movement is necessary. Right.
Yeah. And the laughter builds momentum. Like for instance, I was talking about this in my product verbal vinyasa a really long time ago of this idea of
Okay.
the vibe avalanche. So if you like smile and you're talking to this woman, she's gonna smile too, and then it
Very, yeah.
might turn into a laugh
Right.
because you're smiling. But if you do the opposite,
Right.
it's gonna turn the avalanche the opposite way. So
Right.
it's like that mirroring effect, like the crescendo of ha 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 ha, and then we both start laughing, and then it generates this container of that inside joke, like you said,
I
that
agree. I agree.
that psychic link.
But what I would also like to add, and this I talked about this with Pete Kirkwood, um, we are very analytical beings, you and I, and of course Pete. We're almost no, we're actually very clinical about the way we seduce because
Yeah.
of the time, the effort. It's like we're old school wrestlers. You know,
Yeah,
he-
we're like
the
metaphysical surgeons, bro.
metaphysical surgeons,
We're
indeed,
like
well said.
slicing up pieces of the quantum realm and shit. That's
Yeah,
what we're
yeah, and
doing.
it is almost trippy how some things work out. But what is the point I was making? Right. Pete gave a counter argument that it works well for urban areas, right? But the more natural genuineness works very well in rural areas. And then I started to realize, wait a minute, the power of humor, right? Even though I use it in a very technical way, because I I mean it genuinely, also because I practice it a lot, because I want them to laugh, right? In the way that the joke is structured, I expect to release like, ha, it's like a uh, small pocket of tension that just released, or a large part of tension, and thus there's a new space to be filled with more laughter, more joy, more feeling good, more good vibes. And because of that, more is possible. If Okay, but the same can be said for the reverse, because let's say you make someone feel bad, it's not like there's more space, right? It's like a rock becomes lead, very heavy, very weighted. And if people make you feel like that, or you feel that within, maybe it's time to watch a bit of comedy, right? Because we do this more as a means to an end, right? A means to make ourselves feel good during the day. Because if we feel good, we can perform better, make them feel good about themselves, so that they can perform better and build a deeper rapport than most people will ever have in their lives, right? And what you'll see comedians often do is, and especially like impromptu comedians, like completely improv, just joke and use the material as is, because the crowd gives them the material. Sometimes literally through topics, or when so hecklers getting owned in a funny way, right? Is
Oh
a
man, I
very
love those
interesting one.
videos.
I
Yeah,
Yeah, I know,
man.
right?
I love those videos. I came from the world of rap battling, man. So the roasting culture was very big there. And to transfer that into a humorous context, like the whole yo mama jokes, uh, that ability to use your words as a weapon, really. Like,
Right,
and it's like eventually I think humor can split into different ways, and the different ways that it shows up. It can be very sharp. It can be um, very light humor, like
right,
work safe, not safe for work humor, and safe for work humor, right? And like it goes into many different genres, like movies have genres. So you have
right,
to find your own humorous genre. And if you can
right.
match, like someone can match your level of humor, I think that's one of the pure baselines of like a really good friendship or a solid relationship, right?
Exactly. Well said. Well said. Do you mind if I go on that?
Yeah, go ahead.
So this is my idea based on what I've researched so far and tested. Um, Pickup is pickup, and it's good for the context of pickup. Street dating, clubbing, you name it. It's fine. It's great for one night stands, whatever. But a higher art is the building of relationships, and I still use pickup techniques. It's still there. However, now that the intentions are clearer, purer, etc., I get more joy out of life. And now, looking at joy out of life, I believe a relationship, whatever you want to call it, starts with the archetype of the lover. You know, but within the lover, you'll find a true friend. So the idea then becomes, if I can be a friend to me, I can be a friend to those that I care about. Thus, he, I will be very cautious of those, who hate themselves. Because if you hate yourself, I cannot imagine the hate you have for me. Thus, self-love becomes a big topic. And how I push forward my self-love would be, again, through the art of humor. But because I can use humor, you know, be it to find something ironically funny about my life, or
Bro,
roast myself, or
yeah, man,
roast other hosts.
I tell my clients to do this all the time. It's called extreme self-love. So what you do is you look in the mirror, and then whatever you see about yourself that you don't like, you make it like a narcissistic positive comment, like almost
Right.
exaggerated to the point where you're like, well, my nose is slightly crooked, but that just makes me more attainable. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I have a few pimples, but I just it's because of my
And
high
then,
testosterone. And like and you
yeah,
just keep
that's a good one.
like
That's a good one.
you just keep reframing until you feel so good, and you carry that forth with you throughout the day. And I think that, yeah, that self-love is really important, man. Like we
Right.
mainly a lot of our traumas came from the love that we didn't get. We weren't nourished by enough love. And if we
Fair.
were, like, honestly, yeah, we wouldn't be so messed up because we wouldn't
Well,
have those emotional splits in our own minds, in a sense.
right.
And again, it would make our journeys kind of
Boring.
boring if we didn't have like a journey or a quest to go
Right.
on to actually,
It's
deal with it. Yeah.
remember on the narcissism, right? Remember the scene of the first Shrek where you had the wrestling scene, right? Just before that, people were making way for Shrek and Donkey, right? And Lord Farquaad, whatever his name is, said, "Oh my God, he's hideous." And then Shrek looks at Donkey and then back like, "Well, that's a bit mean. He's just a donkey." But clearly, the joke is, the Lord is talking about Shrek, and it became a meme because people would aspire to have that godlike level of confidence. And right,
Reminds me of like Johnny Bravo as well. It's like, who's that handsome guy in the mirror? Oh wait, it's just me.
right,
Like
right, 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 right.
that
It's
kind of, yeah, energy.
and it's that kind of energy that I, permeate or aim to permeate in the most natural way where possible. And if the art of self roasting is only meant to enrich the conversation, not to put yourself down.
Yeah,
It's
true,
it's, it's
man.
like
But
saying
some
I
people
have big
they
teeth, but now I can bite more.
right. Some people just rely on the self-deprecating or the self-loathing archetype, and I think they're just stuck in the archetype.
Right.
They think that that's the only thing that's going to get them laughter, or in a sense, yeah,
Validation, right?
yeah, sense
Like
of
laughter,
validation.
validation in that sense. It could help, but what you'll notice is it's never to be good. It's never good to be just one flavor. There's no such thing as a purist. I mean, I use self roasting and roasting in different ways. For instance, as I get to know my target is another term for I would like to know more about her. She seems like someone fun to hang out with. Uh, I'll make fun of her mannerisms. For instance, she clearly one instance would be she's clearly the bossy type. She's cute. She knows she's fine, but I don't agree with the way she treats other men. She treats me fine. She's already laughed at a few of my jokes. So then I could simply say, are you willing to tell me that you can dance but you want other people to dance? Are you Beyonce? Are you the Queen Bitch? What's going on? And then the joke begins to form because now her own girls are like, yes, are you? And then I would retort to that like, so is she bossing you around too? Let's leave. We need to unionize, set our CVs elsewhere. And then a new joke begins to form. And
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
I'm just riffing, not per se off of only to roast, but as people join in, it becomes
yeah.
funny.
When the friends are kind of like giving you that nudge, like to roast, it's like a double roast. It's like an alley oop. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Where you kind of hand it to her, and then the friend kind of joins in on the on the
And
joke.
that's the best,
Yeah,
man. When
that's the
her
best. Yeah.
own friends are joining in, knowing clearly that I like her, it's like, I appreciate that. You're a good friend. You know how this game is played. I appreciate you. If I have chocolate, I would give it to you.
Mm. Yeah, and you're kind of confirming with the friend that her level of dorkiness is like, she always like this, like
Yeah,
that
is she always
that
just
vibe.
dorky? What's going on? But
Yeah.
not in a mean-spirited way, but almost as if, a like how a uncle would tease his niece.
Yeah.
Like going to like, is your daughter will like this? Yeah, I thought you would. Like, you're not getting any candy. And then she would be like, I didn't even want candy. Like, good. Then your little sister gets candy. Like
Mhm.
dumb things like that. And then she'll hit you and run away or whatever. And then her father and you will just laugh because it's little girls being little girls, and it's just funny to tease them a bit, right? Now, could this backfire? Yes, of course, but that already gives me an indication of, yeah, maybe we shouldn't talk when I'm just innocently joking around. There has been situations where I would use humor to remember people's name. For instance, I am very unfamiliar, even though I'm Indian, with all the possible Indian names combinations. Let's say all Asian name combinations. I would have
That's
to,
why most Asians have nicknames in the first place,
yeah,
too.
exactly,
People
right?
just
Like,
call
oh,
them
your
by
name
their
is
name.
Bobby? What's your real name?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I will not remember that. Thank you for telling me your nickname. Um, but what do you do when, humor doesn't work when it's meant well? Do you explain? Do you walk away? My answer to that would be, depends on context. If let's say you're good friends with the group and, you know, the little sister of one of your friends or one of your new friends gives a off remark or, you know, decides that she's offended and she'll go after you always have the option to walk away. You clearly had good intentions. You could explain it. I've tried to do that. But explaining a joke after, someone feels slighted just makes it worse. Another option would be I'll just give it a cold shoulder and continue on saying hi to the whole group.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's like it's a radar, but if it hits someone directly and they're offended by it, then it's like, oh well, like why were you in the way of this arrow? It's almost like in a sense, like people are gonna project their own issues onto the joke that's being told at times and
Mhm.
have
That is
their
true.
own like kind of moral high ground over the
Right.
joke. And I
Again, we
think,
don't know what baggage people have, right? Because she
right,
might have been bullied
right,
because of her name. I don't know what can of worms I'm opening.
exactly,
Same with
right.
dating. I don't know what baggage they have. But if I do not take the risk of, putting myself out there, dating, expressing myself, through whatever medium, be the medium of seduction, humor, business, how will I change my life? Right? Sure, I could have done things better. Sure, the day could have been shorter. Sure, this and sure that. But surely, without action, there is no practice. Without action, there is no clarity on, what should I keep doing and what should I stop doing and what should I change.
Yeah, man, that's why throughout the entire day I just do weird voices and like I keep
Yeah,
myself
I
in
could
that
imagine
pocket of
you doing
fun.
that.
You
You
can,
really could.
right?
I was like, yeah, at this
Yeah.
point, sometimes I'm like, bro, is it like a puppet up your ass? What's going on? Or hand up your ass? It's like, how?
Yeah,
Not to make a colonoscopy joke, but I just did, right?
but you
I
just did.
combined. It's just like I made a Muppet joke and a colonoscopy joke all at the same time, and
Mhm.
that is the art of humor. And I just made
Yeah,
it by accident.
exactly.
And now this becomes an inside joke between you and I. And the
Mhm.
inside joke can also be like, oh, an inside joke, Ryan, really, after the Muppet joke and the colonoscopy shit, really. And
Mhm.
I can start laughing about that.
Right.
And it's all about nuance and having fun. And if I was to describe, applying humor through the art of seduction with a woman, it'd be nothing more than using humor, of course, to enrich the conversation, but also giving her the chance to, duke it out with you.
Mhm.
Not simply in a competitive way, but
Right.
even if it's kind of like wrestling, it's also like dancing. Like within salsa, you step back so that she can spin, and then you
Totally.
come back to a neutral position so that you can do your stuff. It becomes a back and forth.
It's
A
like a
fun,
tennis match. Yeah, that keeps
exactly,
going.
but a fun, competitive tennis match where both parties want to win not simply by having a better argument. No.
Yeah, it's
Well,
not
that
like we're
too.
playing for points or whatever. It's like it's just the vibe that is generated through the hitting of the.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is. Can we create a better fight? Can we
Mhm.
have even more fun? Um, I don't really want to go home yet, or
Mhm.
I really don't want to go home, but I have to. That
Mhm.
that's what we're going for.
Yeah.
And it's that how much value can I give and how good can I feel? You're in good company when you talk and you feel good about yourself because you feel
Right.
appreciated, you feel heard, um, maybe not admired, but uh, because of the increase in social value, better said, likability because of the jokes, right? Or in the way that you speak, in the way that you treat people, or in the way that
Mhm.
you're being treated, or vice versa, and
Right.
vice versa.
All right,
It,
Ryan. We're time's up for me because I
oh,
have
oh,
a
time's up.
client client to see about coaching through the processes that they bring me in, stuff like
Of
this.
course,
But yeah, guys, if you ever want to contact us directly for a humor session, we can help you out with your memes.
which you did
Um,
it.
yeah, if you need help with telling a joke, um, or just like pacing or humor, or in general any techniques in regards to that comedy stuff, let
Yep.
us know. Type in LOL in the comment section.
That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Have an incredible day. May the flow be with you and stay legendary. Let's
Okay.
get it.